Good morning. My name is Sterling Higa, Chairperson of the Authority. I'd now like to call to order the December 4th, 2024 Pulehunui Authority meeting of the Hawaii Community Development Authority. The time is now 10:43 a.m.
Thank you, Chair. In accordance with section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, the Hawaii Community Development Authority is holding today's Pulehunui board meeting virtually on Zoom. The Zoom link details were included on the meeting agenda. Therefore, members of the public are welcome to join us on Zoom and also at our physical meeting site, the American Brewery Building, 547 Queen Street, second floor boardroom, Honolulu 96813. The HCD communication staff is hosting this meeting. Once this meeting begins, everyone will be muted on your audio. Board members, if you have any comments or questions, please unmute yourself to speak. It is important that all individuals clearly state their name, pseudonym, or other identifier name each time prior to speaking. If you wish to provide oral testimony when you're attending virtually, please indicate so by clicking the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen. If you are attending in person and you'll be called to the front of the room in the order you signed up. All testimony will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Your testimony must be related to an item on the agenda. Before you begin your testimony, you ask that you identify yourself and spell your name for the record. When 1 minute is remaining, 1 minute remains will be called out. And when 30 seconds remain will be called out. When time has elapsed, called out, after which you have 30 seconds to conclude your testimony, and then your audio will be turned off. If you are attending in person, the presiding officer will call the next testimony. Keep in mind that this is an opportunity to share your thoughts with us. If you ask questions during your testimony, neither the board nor the staff is required to provide an answer. If the authority's connection for the remote meeting is lost, the meeting will be recessed until the connection is restored. If the connection cannot be restored within 30 minutes, the meeting will be terminated and the authority will continue the meeting at another notice date. Thank you. Chair.
Thank you. HCDA board members, please remain visible and audible during the meeting. Also, please acknowledge you are present by either saying here or present. Let the record reflect that the following members are present. Vice Chair Ishii.
Here.
Member Miranda Johnson.
Yeah.
Member Evans.
Present.
Member Yamashita.
Here.
Member Tsuji is excused. Member Kabibi.
Here.
Thank you. Member Yamasaki.
Here.
Thank you.
Chair, quorum is present.
Thank you. For today's meeting, board members will have an opportunity to ask questions or provide comments after an agenda item has been presented. Individuals from the public who have requested to provide verbal public testimony on a specific agenda item are on standby and will be permitted to provide their testimony respectively. Moving now to agenda item number 2, approval of minutes. These are the regular meeting minutes of July 3rd, 2024. Board members, are there any comments or corrections to these minutes? If there are no comments or questions, the minutes are approved as presented. Agenda item number 3 for information and discussion. An update by the HCDA staff and Wilson Okamoto Corporation on the planning, designing, and constructing of infrastructure in the Pulehunui Community Development District, consisting of approximately 988 acres of land located in the Moku of Kula on the island of Maui, and further described by Maui tax map key numbers 2-3-8008-001, 2-3-8-008007, 2-3-8-008037, and 2-3-8-008038. Ms. Lindsay Doi, Asset Manager, will now present the staff report.
Good morning, members, and welcome in person, Member Yamashita. We've had brief meetings with most of you to discuss this project and our design build contract with Hawaiian Dredging, but we wanted to bring Wilson Okamoto Corporation on board to formally present an update on their work. They are the key contractor, a sub-consultant or a subcontractor of Hawaiian Dredging, and they're taking the lead on the first phase of the project, the planning. So they put together a slide deck in your packet, and they will be led off by Keola Cheng.
Thanks. You want to screen share yet? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Keola Cheng. I'm the planning director at Wilson Okamoto Corporation. And today I'll be providing an update on the Pulehunui Community Development District project, outlining our progress to date, and outlining our current status and next steps as we move forward in partnership with HCDA and the Maui community. So as Sterling mentioned, Pulehunui Community Development District is located in central Maui. And it encompasses a current range of industrial, agricultural, and commercial uses. Key transportation arteries such as the Maui Veterans Highway provide critical connectivity to the district, which makes it a focal point for development. Also, as Sterling mentioned, this project involves 4 discrete TMK parcels, which are managed by agencies such as DHHL, DLNR, DAGS, and DCR, and reflects an opportunity for us to, realize a collaborative effort to align resources and opportunities in the area. So HCDA's goal, vision, is rooted in sustainability, cultural preservation, and responsible development. Our goals of this project are to fully utilize the district's resources while balancing the needs of the community and adhering to state and county guidelines. By integrating best practices in planning, infrastructure development, and cultural preservation, we aim to create a district that serves the people of Maui while fostering growth and opportunity. So I'll give you a quick walkthrough of the project roadmap. So this project officially kicked off back in July 2024, where we met with HCDA to sort of define and outline goals and visions of the action. Currently, you can see where the red stars at. We're in the planning assessment report phase, where we are conducting a thorough evaluation of existing conditions and preparing documentation to outline a cohesive strategy for infrastructure development in the region. Once this process is finished, starting next year, early Q1 January, we'll begin creating a Pulehunui master plan and an infrastructure master plan in parallel, which will set the foundation for future development in the region. Following that, we'll go to entitlements and environmental review process, which could be an EA, could be an EIS, but we'll ensure that proposed project improvements comply with 343. Finally, we'll proceed to design, permitting, and construction phases, ensuring alignment with the district's long-term goals.
Good morning. My name is Harley Myers. I'm a project manager with Wilson Okamoto. I'll be providing an overview of our draft planning assessment report. The PAR is the foundational step in this process, and key focus areas include land use summaries aligned with state and community plans, an analysis of existing conditions and infrastructure deficiencies, integration of existing documentation and studies, the identification of ongoing or potential projects, and the assessment ensures that we address regional challenges cohesively and lay a strong groundwork for future planning phases. Land use considerations within the Pulehunui Community Development District are deeply influenced by state and county frameworks. The district falls within the state land use agricultural district, requiring careful planning to align with permitted uses and goals. The county level planning, including the Maui Island Plan and South Maui Community Plan, emphasizes transitioning Pulehunui from its historical agricultural uses to a mix of industrial, agricultural, and community serving development. This shift reflects the broader visions for sustainable growth while respecting the district's natural and cultural heritage. In addition to regulatory compliance, we are closely considering ongoing and known projects within the area. Each of these projects is at a different stage of planning or delivery, and our focus is on ensuring that land use strategies are complementary. By bridging communications and aligning these efforts, we aim to maximize synergies and avoid potential conflicts or redundancies. The existing conditions assessment is a cornerstone of our work. It ensures that we have a clear understanding of the environmental, cultural, and physical factors shaping the district. Key areas of focus include environmental factors such as climate, topography, and wetlands, which inform land use and infrastructure design, historical and cultural resources that are vital to the region's identity and must be preserved in alignment with Chapter 6E HRS, natural hazards including flood risks, which require mitigation planning to ensure safety and resilience. In parallel, we are closely analyzing ongoing and proposed projects within the district. Each project, whether it's the State Veterans Home, Maui Jail, or others, presents unique considerations, and our assessment integrates their potential impacts and requirements into the broader planning process. To bridge these considerations within the community, developing a robust outreach strategy is critical. This outreach will help us gather input on existing challenges and infrastructure needs while ensuring alignment with the community's expectations. The infrastructure assessment is aimed at identifying both deficiencies and opportunities to enhance transportation, water, wastewater, drainage, and telecommunication systems in the district. Our approach includes analyzing existing infrastructure and its capacity to meet current and projected needs, identifying low-hanging fruit improvements that can be implemented in the near term to catalyze development. This work is deeply tied to the ongoing and active projects in the district, which are at various stages of planning and delivery. As these projects crystallize their programs and design, we are committed to factoring their infrastructure requirements into our recommendations. Additionally, community input is essential to this process. Outreach efforts will allow us to gather valuable insights and infrastructure needs, ensuring that future investments are practical, impactful, and aligned with stakeholder priorities. To ensure our planning efforts are built on a strong foundation, we've conducted a thorough review of existing documentation. This includes prior HRS 343 environmental review documents, infrastructure master plans, and feasibility studies. Ongoing projects like the State Veterans Home and the Maui Jail are key drivers within the district. However, each project, as mentioned, is at a different stage, with varying timelines, goals, and requirements. Our focus is on aligning these individual efforts with a cohesive framework to support the district's long-term vision. We also recognize the need to bridge planning and communication across these projects through a well-structured community outreach strategy. This will not only streamline collaboration, but also gather the community's input on priorities and needs, ensuring that our recommendations reflect both technical considerations and local perspectives.
So looking ahead, we will finalize the planning assessment report by the end of this year. And along with that, develop a robust community outreach plan to engage Maui residents and stakeholders. And from there, we'll start drafting the Pulehunui master plan and infrastructure master plan, taking into account all the various projects in that region. Trying to identify what the actual demands are, what the needs are, and how we can sort of best address them. And work within the budget of this project to provide improvements that will give us the most bang for the buck in that sense. So these steps will ensure that the project is community driven and aligned with regional goals and set us up for long-term success. Thank you for your time and attention. Happy to address any questions that you guys might have.
Thank you, members. Any comments or questions? I see member Evans.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Thank you very much to the staff from Wilson Okamoto. You mentioned the budget. Can you give me a round number of what the various pieces of this project are going to cost? Either a total or broken down, if you have it, by the various steps.
Chad, do you have that on you? Is Chad on the call?
Yeah, Chad is on.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Chad.
Yeah.
How do you have the direct breakdown of that?
Member Evans, are you looking for the breakdown by these steps in the project, or you're looking for some kind of rough order of magnitude on what the infrastructure cost may be?
No, the first, Craig, not the
Okay.
not the rough infrastructure costs, the cost of the these projects in the planning phase.
I think I think the way the contract was structured, I think, let me look back at it and then I'll provide you with the breakdown, Member Evans. If I can.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, member Evans. Members, any other comments or questions? Yep, member Yamashita.
I had a question and a comment. I don't know if you're aware, but in the South Maui Community Plan, at least the previous version, the updated one is still being taken at that planning commission. But in the previous version, there's a project district that's part of this area. So a project district is essentially its own
like a
community
PRD,
plan
yeah.
designation, so. And it has its own kind of guidelines, or they may be requirements as well. So anyway, it's just worth mentioning that.
Yeah, that's something we noticed and it's kind of been built into our study. It'll be reflected.
Okay,
Yeah, we found that very interesting, yeah.
yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Member Yamashita. I see Member Yamasaki, but if we want to allow Chad to respond to the previous question before that. If Chad's on. Yeah, we can't hear Chad, so let's just go to Member Yamasaki and we can loop back.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I had a quick question for the folks at Wilson Okamoto. I noticed on one of your slides, you had under the infrastructure assessment, transportation and roadway. Could you
Yes.
maybe better clarify what your scope is or what your thoughts are in terms of that particular assessment?
So broadly speaking, our scope is to identify all infrastructure demand in the area, which range from transportation, traffic, to wastewater, water, electrical, and all those. So what we're looking at from a transportation standpoint is what is needed from an access standpoint to facilitate development in the district. So in terms of the projects that we're looking at, it's utility projects such as water, wastewater, could be electrical upgrades. And in addition, it could be, roadway construction type projects.
Okay.
So it's kind of an all-encompassing type effort.
If I had a thought about roadway or highway access, is that something that we could provide through you, or what's the
Yes.
process to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Member Yamasaki. Vice Chair Ishii.
Yeah, so just for clarification, when you did this study, I know you had known potential active projects. So was this taken into consideration, or is this going to be a second phase?
Clarify, sorry. I don't think we stated that there's no active, well, I would say that there's no active projects in the construction, but there are.
Says
various projects.
known potential active projects, state veterans home, DCR, Maui jail, and judiciary facility. So I'm not sure if this study was based off of looking at this known potential projects as well.
Oh, okay. No, yes. I thought you said no. That kind of threw me off semantics. Yes, it's based off of, the information available to us on those projects. We know their existence. There's limited information with regard to what their programmatic needs are. We've reached out to those project teams to see clarification on what the infrastructure demands for those actions are, and it'll be kind of folded into this, but at present, there's not a lot of direct solid information in terms of, specifically with the jail sizing, et cetera. So we've relied on, previous programmatic information from other prior, like when the MRPSC, when that project was either Maui Regional Public Safety Complex. That's kind of a placeholder that we're using from a infrastructure evaluation standpoint for that project.
Thank you.
Member Evans.
Yes, for future development of these parcels, if there's existing agriculture, what is that now? Is that or is there a plan to expand the agricultural use of the parcel, or have you been directed to do a district boundary amendment to move it into the urban district to accommodate the non-agricultural activities, projects that are in process or will be contemplated later?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but our intent is not to really mess with land use.
So,
directly,
yeah,
right?
maybe Member Evans, I can clarify and expand on that. So, our intent here is really to, provide infrastructure that's gonna support the various uses by DHHL, BA and judiciary and DCR. I think, to that extent, we're gonna work within county zoning to the extent we need to seek, boundary amendments for certain things, we will. But I don't think, we were gonna look into like what kind of entitlements are needed for DCR to build the jail or to for VA to build a home there. I think I would say it's slightly out of scope of what our goal is and what the legislature intended for this project.
Okay, so that'll be captured in that last deliverable, which appears to be permits and design, permitting and documentation.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know, as Kilda mentioned, I think some of these proposed projects, known proposed projects are at various stages. You know, some being a little farther out than others. And it is a challenge to gather all that information, because I think, as you know, Member Evans, you know, in order to do a planning study for this, to determine the, you know, infrastructure that's needed, the size of the infrastructure, the timing of the infrastructure, it's critical to get all those, that kind of information from the various stakeholders. So I know it's gonna be a challenge, because like I said, look, some of them are not, I think are quite not at that point.
Okay.
But we have to get that, and it is gonna be a challenge.
Okay. Craig, because this is a community development district, is it your thought that these 4 parcels are now exempt from state land use district boundary requirements, because HCDA will take over the zoning?
So, you know, for the Pulehunui Community Development District, I think since its inception by the, you know, establishment by the legislature, it's always been my view, and I think my predecessor's view too, that we would not impose our, you know, a sort of a zoning overlay on the Pulehunui district like we've done in Kakak or Kalailo. And I don't remember Yamashita is here from Department of Planning. He works under Kate Blystone. And in my discussions with Director Blystone and also with Member Yamashita, I've been really clear that I don't intend to do that. I'm hoping that we can, for the most part, work under existing county zoning and entitlements to get the infrastructure done, right? You know, that's not saying anything about what it's gonna take for the individual stakeholders to get the VA home built, or to get the prison built, or to do other things. But at least on our part, I'm hoping that the infrastructure can be built under existing county zoning, and I do not intend to implement kind of a zoning overlay. That's been my promise to the county, and I tend to live by it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Members, any other comments or questions? Member Kabibi.
Just clarifying, so if we're not going to address potential zoning issues and we put infrastructure in, could it possibly be like for nothing? I mean, if you can't rezone the land at some point, you know, whoever's going to build the project out, what would be the benefit of having the infrastructure in if we can't complete the projects because the DBAs or things aren't able to be obtained later? Just trying to understand.
So I guess holistically, this is a different sort of development district than, say, conventional HCD district like Kalaimoa or Kaka'ako. The intent is not to create a zoning overlay necessarily, but from our standpoint, at least as been conveyed to us, the project is intended to catalyze development using existing zoning. So this project will be largely geared towards providing infrastructure for agricultural, industrial, and commercial uses that are already permitted under zoning in that district.
And I think secondarily to Keola's point, Member Kabibi, all of the vertical developments in this district, at least to my knowledge, are going to be carried out by governmental entities.
Yeah.
So, you know, and not by private entities. That's to my knowledge. So so with that, it's my sort of vision, I think that the governmental entities will be able to work to get the zoning entitlement they need to complete their projects. I know it sounds like you kind of a chicken and egg thing. But I think we have to start somewhere and the infrastructure needs to go in before any vertical development can occur. Timing is gonna be critical and the budget is gonna be critical.
Thank you for that. I understand.
And I'm sure that Director Nakamoto and the team will be in constant communication with the agencies involved in these projects to make sure that they can kind of work concurrently on the things they need to do.
Yes, and timing of the infrastructure and timing of development has always been a little bit of a concern for us too. As an example, I mean, you don't want to build something, infrastructure, and then it's sitting there. So timing will be critical. We also have a construction piece to this contract. In order to encumber the monies before they lapse, it was necessary to do this sort of planning, design, build contract. And that, of course, has its own challenges, but there's a construction piece that, is also attached to this. And some of the construction, hopefully will occur, sooner rather than later, but there's also some construction that could be, further down the line. And also there's additional funds that may need to be obtained to complete some of that work. Part of Wilson Okamoto or the delivery is, in the end, we should have an idea of what infrastructure is needed, the timing of the infrastructure, and I think a rough order of magnitude for that. And then we're gonna have to prioritize that infrastructure, given the funds that we have currently.
Just a more request than a question. Can we make sure that when the planning assessment report is completed, the board receives that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so we can follow along through this process.
Yes.
All right, members, any other comments or questions?
And I think also when the community outreach plan, Chair, sorry to interrupt, when the community outreach plan is draft phase will be sure to get the input of the board members who
Absolutely.
are based on Maui, so they'll have a, good insight as to, the community outreach plan, and able to look at it and sort of test it in some way for, validity.
Perfect. Yeah. Members, any other comments or questions? If not, we'll move to public testimony. Do we have anyone pre-registered to testify? Do we have any persons present or online who wish to provide testimony? Thank you to the team from Wilson and Okamoto. Oh, sorry, we do have somebody raising their hand. Lauren Yasaka.
Oh, hey, Lauren.
Hey, Lauren.
Hi, sorry, Russell couldn't make it today, so I just had a question. I did notice that you guys had the known and
Lauren?
potential.
Sorry, Lauren, excuse me, just for the record, can you identify yourself? I know you're sitting in for Russell, but could you just identify yourself and your role for the board
Of
members?
course. My name is Lauren Yasaka. I am the planner here at Land Division. Thank you very much for taking my question. I just noticed that when we were talking about known and potential active projects, and even when you were speaking regarding the projects in the area, DLNR's Pulehunui Business and Industrial Park was not mentioned. I just wanted to make sure that that is going to be included in the plan going forward.
Yes. It should be.
Sorry, Lauren, you're right. Didn't mean to exclude that. There's also DHHL's projects that have to be considered. So sorry for that slight loss.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And just for the minutes, that's a board member question, not a piece of testimony, because she's here on behalf of member Susan.
It's just I think she's monitoring the meeting on behalf of Russell, but she's not designated as such to be a board member. So it's considered public testimony.
Okay, public testimony. Great.
Yeah, sorry, Lauren, we didn't mention it on the slides, but we did look at the EIS it was tied to, so it's in there.
Thank you, Lauren.
Perfect. Seeing no one wishing to testify, thank you to the team from Wilson Okamoto. We'll move now to adjourn the meeting. Thank you to those who joined us on Zoom or in person, and thank you, Member Yamashita, for being in person. that concludes our business for today. The time is 11:13 and we'll roll straight into Kalailoa.
Thank you.